Are you ready to unlock the secret to radiant and youthful skin? Look no further. PSH Nutrition is here with an exclusive offer that will leave you glowing from the inside out. Introducing their buy one get one free promotion. When you purchase their premium vitamin C serum, you'll receive a free bottle of their delicious collagen gummies. That's right, it's a double treat for your skin and your taste buds. PSH Nutrition's vitamin C serum is specifically formulated to brighten your complexion, reduce wrinkles, and promote a healthy, youthful glow. It's like a burst of sunshine for your skin. And with their collagen gummies, you'll nourish your skin from the inside. Collagen is the secret ingredient for firm, supple skin, and now you can enjoy it in a tasty, convenient gummy form. But wait, there is more. They take pride in their commitment to quality and your satisfaction. PSH Nutrition products are made with the highest standards and are backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee. So don't miss out on this incredible offer. Your skin deserves the best, and PSH Nutrition is here to deliver. It's time to embrace your natural beauty, and they're here to help you shine. Visit their website at pshnutrition.com or call their hotline now to order your vitamin C serum and get those collagen gummies for free. Hurry, this offer will not last. PSH Nutrition, where beauty meets health. Again, pshnutrition.com.
This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is the one that everybody wants, me. Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore! Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Welcome, everybody, to the official Elimination Chamber review show. We have Tom Franco with us tonight, and boy, there's no better person to talk to right now because you are one of the lucky people to be in the Bell Center last night for what, from my perspective, sitting at home, was one of the most emotional matches I've seen in recent memory. I can't imagine what it was like to be in person in the Bell Center. And Tom, how you doing? Overall, how was your experience?
I'm doing great, Matt. Thank you. Thanks for having me on again. Last night, honestly, one of the better events I've ever been to live. It was obviously the first pay-per-view / PLE that I've ever been to. I've been to a couple of live shows, but nothing even came close to last night. Last night was just, from the moment you enter the building, even just walking around, when my friend and we bought merch, you can just tell that the anticipation for not only just the main event, but just like the whole card in general, the anticipation was at its highest. So yeah, it was really fun. Of course, we'll talk about the main event. Like you mentioned, very emotional. Didn't go down too well with the crowd last night, but yeah, just great overall. The experience was, I couldn't ask for any better.
I can't, that is what I've heard, or at least seen from other people doing interviews about the arena, and how the moment you stepped in, it was just like a vibe. It was this energy. It was this big fight feel that engulfed, I think, not just the arena, but the city. I mean, it felt like, to me, and from what I've heard, it kind of captured that energy. And it's not too often that this happens. I mean, I can't remember a main event in which I had such emotional investment in than last night. And before we get into that main event, because we'll start there in just a minute, we have to. How was when you got into the arena and you got into your seats? I mean, was it immediately like you hear the Sammy chants? Are people like, what's the vibe by the time you get to your seat and you're starting to kind of feel and hear what people are saying?
So right away, my friend and we got there with probably half an hour to spare. So just waited in line to get our merch, and lots of Sammy versus Roman merch. Lots of people just not even sitting down in the arena, just walking around the concourse, just chanting Sammy's name. Then the show hasn't even started yet. Then, you walk into your seats, arena's jam packed. And then, you have the Sammy chant starting, and then you had the pre-show announcers even during, I think they might have been off TV, but Kevin Patrick and I believe was it Kayla Braxton are just conducting the Sammy chants because they just got louder and louder and louder. And then obviously there was we were trying to keep it PG, but the FU Roman chants were loud before the show even started. It was just super, super loud, and you could tell, like you mentioned, big fight feel like right away as soon as you sat down, and the show hadn't even started yet. So
Yeah, that's how you know you're in for a night, and the energy was kept up throughout the night. Like, you guys did an awesome job of not fading off as the pay-per-view went on. I mean, that's typical where you start high energy, and by the main event, it's kind of people are excited, but the energy levels usually decrease. But you guys were just almost on a trajectory upward all night. It was crazy. Now, one more thing I'll ask you before we get to the main event and dive into that, I can't wait, is when you talk about these FU Roman chants, it came across on camera a lot. Like, they didn't try, or if they did, they didn't do a good job of drowning them out with any kind of post-production audio or like in the moment try to censor it. It came across pretty clear of what you guys were saying, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times, and it was hilarious. But you mentioned that people were chanting this, and I heard it all throughout the night. But what was the demographic like? Were there a lot of families there? I mean, because if you brought little kids, I mean, you're hearing many, many, many chants that are pretty vulgar. What was the demographic? Was it just mainly men? Was it families?
It seemed mostly like, I would say 80% grown men. That's what it seemed like. It seemed like mostly grown men is who you would walk around on the concourse. There were some women that I saw, and then a few kids. Not a whole lot of kids, but there was a father and a son sitting right in front of me. So I tried to keep my cool the entire night, because obviously you don't want to spoil things for the kid, or you don't want to, just kind of give them that sort of experience. But at the same time, you are going to a live show, so it's bound to happen eventually. But so I would say majority was grown men.
That's the vibe that I got, or at least the audible chants sounded like our generation. It sounded like kind of an older 18 to 40-year-old male that was being what they do and being very vocal about what was going on, and I loved it. I mean, not just because it was a male chants, but just the passion, the energy was just unbelievable. So let's get into the main event. Building up to it the video package was as always really good, and Roman comes out to, just a chorus of boos. His entrance was, as always, about 15 minutes long, and it felt very much like John Cena when the people started rejecting him in the early or mid 2000s. And what did you feel when Roman came out? Was it 100% and zero? Was anyone around you cheering for Roman, or was this absolutely unanimous booing on Roman?
Oh, 100% just unanimously booing on Roman. I mean, as soon as the song hit, my friend and I looked at each other and we started booing, and then you look around the entire crowd and it's just all boos. And the one thing I noticed too is I watched the event live back last night when I got home and skipped to the main event. And one thing I noticed is it was audible, like you heard it over his music, and that was just insane to me, because it's not for a long time that we've heard that over Roman's music, a loud chorus of boos. When Sammy was in the Bloodline, they got cheered, like you mentioned a few times on the podcast, and so it was a bit weird to see, because even last time they came here in August for SmackDown, Roman got cheered. So it was a little bit, it was kind of weird, because at the same time, a lot of people have respect for Roman, and I could tell that a lot of people in the crowd did have respect for Roman, but it was almost like okay, you're coming against our guy here, like, we have to boo you, and we're going to boo you as loud as we can. So that was kind of the vibe, and that was kind of the atmosphere.
You don't often hear over Roman's music anything. I mean, it's just kind of like once the music shuts off is when you hear whatever the reaction is. But I agree. I could hear it over the music, and a lot of FU Roman and a lot of middle fingers that were pointed at Roman, and it was just brilliant stuff going in there, and Roman soaking every minute of it up. And no Usos, no Solo Sikoa. It was just Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns. And then Sammy's music hits. After the chants, Sammy's music does hit the Olay, which happened about 40 times during the night, died down. Bam, Sammy's music hits. The moment that his music hit, I mean, it was an explosion, but I think you guys were also ready to sing along. I mean, you guys were just like gearing up to sing along to his old music. So just describe that moment when his music hit and then the chants began.
Yeah, so immediately we're all, the anticipation is there for his music to hit, and then once it hits, like I mean, the place just kind of erupts. Everyone is singing. There was a guy sitting next to me, must have been with his girlfriend, but it was just quiet the entire night, just kind of taking everything in. And then immediately as Sammy's music hits, the guy just gets up and starts singing along. It's like everyone was there. It was mostly for Sammy. Like, and the funny thing is like, it just got louder as soon as he got closer to the ring. Like it just started. I thought it would be louder as soon as his music hit. It was definitely loud. Definitely got louder when he walked out of when he walked out into the arena, with the music playing. And then when he got into the ring, it just got louder for some reason. And then, yeah, as soon as Samantha Irvin was, introducing Roman and Sammy, the Olay chant started, the Sammy chant started. And then, yeah, it was just super, super loud. The place just erupted. I don't know if it came across that way on TV because I had a few buddies who were watching who said that from the US, from Peacock, I think it is, they said that it didn't come across as loud as they thought, but in the building, dude, I'm telling you, it was like the roof was gonna come off the building.
I'm glad you pointed that out because I can confirm on Peacock, while I saw people going crazy, the volume didn't match what I saw. So there was a little bit of something going on. I don't think they were purposefully downplaying the reaction. That would make no sense. But there was something going on with the audio, either accidentally or purposefully, where it was a little bit subdued to what I expected. But you're right. As he got closer to the ring, you guys started to lose your minds even further. And then he gets to the ring, and the things that you don't catch when you're in the arena, though, are like the facial expressions. Unless you're looking at the big screen, you don't catch those facials that are so important in these matches. And Roman Reigns, I don't think you could help himself with the support he was getting with Roman Reigns, or rather Sammy getting the support from his hometown crowd. You could see Roman Reigns smiling at Sammy, but doing it in a way that it was almost like he's so happy for him. Even though that obviously is not the story, it kind of felt like a genuine smile for Sammy. And obviously that's not going to be the story. But Sami Zayn and his wife also, his wife at ringside, I got to give his wife props because she sold this like it was real. And she did an awesome job of making it feel like this was authentic. I mean, there are a lot of instances where you bring a third party in and it looks just embarrassing. It looks like forced or cartoonish. His wife did an amazing job of making this like the show of concern or happiness when, throughout the match was really just, just amazing. And I give his wife props as well. But when the bell rings and you guys are standing there for about, I don't know, it felt like 5 minutes or longer that after the bell rang, there was still no action and you guys were still ready to just like pour out emotion. How did you feel for those? Like the bell rings and then they're still just standing there. So describe that few minutes in person.
Yeah, so right away as the bell rings, all of us, we just start chanting. Me and my friend just start chanting Sammy, 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 and everyone's just joining in. And it was kind of similar to what happened on Friday, and I think that's just by design. I think the WWE knew that Sammy was going to get this reaction, and I believe that's why they gave the match a lot of time because, they're trying to tell that story that Sammy's in his hometown, and, that alone, the 5 minutes, 6 minutes, or however much it was, it felt like longer, honestly, just being there in person, but, they're just trying to do that to sort of tell the story that, hey, like, this is the guy, this is the guy who he's super hot right now, and it was pretty evident. So being in the crowd, yeah, that was awesome. That moment, everyone just chanting Sammy's name, and it just gets louder and louder and louder, and I'm expecting it at some point to die down, but it just doesn't. Like, and then they start a new chant. They start a Olay chant, or they start an FU Roman chant, or a Roman sucks. It never died down. It was just different chants. So yeah, it was amazing. And like you mentioned, I saw that on when I watched it back at home. I noticed Sammy's wife just selling it. Like, you hear Roman, it's like, he did this, and then his wife going, no, he loved you, he wanted peace, he loved you guys, and that just, like, that was amazing. Like, and like you said, you can't see that in person, so I can kind of see from where I was sitting, you can kind of see Roman talking, and you can see Roman going over to Sammy's wife, but you never, like you said, you don't catch the facial expressions. And unfortunately, there was no Jumbotron this time because they needed to place the chamber.
Oh.
So, yeah, it was not, you couldn't really see unless you were up close and personal. But yeah, like, coming back to Sammy and that sort of 5 minutes, that was like electric. It was like nothing I've ever seen.
That I mean, that is so rare that that any crowd can sustain that energy. As you mentioned, I mean, if you've been to a WWE event, you know that there's peaks and valleys, and, especially in the main event even, but very rarely does it ramp up and then keep ramping up and sustain it. It's nearly impossible when you're attending an event for that to happen unless all the ingredients and stars aligned, and it did last night. And I mentioned this in my quick review last night because I had to get on and talk about this match. But when was the last time a headlock got any reaction from the crowd? Even a headlock from Sami Zayn, you guys cheered for. I mean, like, it wasn't an explosion, but just a headlock. I mean, it's just amazing how every movement, everything that was done in this match, everything from a blink to a breath to a punch to a suplex was just reacted to. It's a dream for a wrestler to have that kind of a reaction. And as we actually get into the match, they finally make contact. At the beginning, Roman Reigns is pounding down Sami Zayn. Zayn eventually stormed back, hit him with a couple of punches, I think some clotheslines, and then we're off to the races. And Roman Reigns getting hit by his own Superman punch and haluva kick. Did you believe that was the moment, possibly, that he could actually win the championship, or did you figure that he's at least going to kick out of one finish?
Now, judging by, like you mentioned, with the headlocks, the multiple headlocks, and the 5 minutes of the cheering, I knew this was going to be a long match, so I knew there was going to be some finisher kickouts, some false finishes, some ref bumps that I will get to that in a bit, but I thought that was overused. But yeah, once he hit that Superman punch and that haluva kick, I thought for a split second, I thought that Sammy was going to win. And the place, just like as the ref goes down to make the count, the place just kind of, everyone jumps off their feet. You can see it around the entire arena. And he just counts that one and that two, and then Roman kicks out at the last second, that famous 2.9999 kick out. But yeah, just like in that moment, yeah, I thought it was Sammy's for sure. But once you see that, you kind of have a feeling you know how the match is going to go, but you're still intrigued in the moment because, you want to get behind Sami Zayn. So that's how that really was. Like, that's pretty much how that match went. And like you mentioned early on, it was mostly all Roman, and it was just a lot of boos and a lot of Sammy chants. So that didn't stop throughout the entire night, but yeah, it was that moment there. They had me believing for sure. So they did their part there.
And if that wasn't enough, as you mentioned, one of the referee bumps, the first one happened when Zayn went for a blue thunder bomb and Reigns smashed Zayn into the referee. And that's when Zayn, though, hit another haluva kick, but there's no referee. So at this point, what did you think about bump number one from the ref?
I didn't think it would come from that opportunity. Like, I thought it would come later in the match, and that's how we would get the finish. But at that point, you're just like, oh, come on, like Sammy can't buy a win at this point. Like, it's gonna end one way. But even at that point, it was starting to be like, oh, okay, the refereeing in in the entire card, I would say, is was kind of it was iffy, and we'll talk about the mixed tag match, because there was a botch on, it was right before the finish, I believe, but yeah, it was just that theme of the night is the referee not being able to make the count, or just something like that or other. So it was, yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy because you're not expecting Sammy to get that another haluva kick, and then there's no referee. And I thought there would be one that came out. I thought one would come out to make the count, and then Roman kicks out at 2.999 again. But yeah, just another false finish, or that came really close to finishing the match, that just had the entire crowd like pissed off.
Hmm. Yeah, that you kind of felt at that point. You like you said, it set the tone for the match. You kind of know where you're going. You're in for a long haul. And once he hit that second haluva kick, you're like, uh-oh, here comes Spears. Like, you know that Spears are coming, and many of them. And Jimmy Uso did come out, hits 3 super kicks and a splash, and then drags Reigns onto Zayn. Zayn did kick out, and then he threw Reigns from the ring and hit Jimmy with a haluva kick, and that's when he turned around into a spear for a near fall. Did you figure, though, that, well, Reigns kicked out of Sammy's finish, even though Roman just speared Sammy, you're not too worried at this point?
No, to be honest, I thought that was going to be the finish, because what they've been doing with Roman and his character since Triple H took over, I noticed that that very rarely opponents are kicking out of a spear. So, like, I thought, okay, Sammy's going to be done with one spear. Maybe Roman will put him in a guillotine or whatever, and like the crowd will start cheering and Sammy will get out. But when he hit that, I thought it was going to be over, and then Sammy kicks out, and you're like, oh my God, he can win again. That's at least what my friend and I were doing. We just kind of, pushed each other, and we're like, oh my God, it still can happen. But when, like you mentioned, with Jimmy coming out, I didn't think the Usos were going to come out. I know you mentioned it previously, like that's what you believe was going to happen, but I don't know if you heard, but the Usos do have multiple DUIs, and in Canada there's a law that when you have multiple DUIs, you can't enter the country. So when they did that angle on SmackDown, I think it was 2 weeks ago, where Paul Heyman told Jimmy to stay at home, I was like, oh, okay, so the Usos aren't going to be here, but maybe we'll get like Solo Sikoa interfering or whatever. But yeah, when Jimmy came out, was super surprised. Wasn't surprised that he started beating up on Sammy though, with no ref. And then once Sammy kicks out from all the super kicks and everything, when the ref comes running down the ramp, I think it was, and he kicks out there, you're like, oh my God, like. But then the spear hits him, and you're like, okay, it's over. But surprisingly, it wasn't. So that they fooled me there. They definitely got me. But yeah, I guess it makes sense, like you mentioned, for if Roman kicks out of a haluva kick, it makes sense for Sammy to kick out of a spear.
Yeah, like I could see where you're right. That the spear has been a protected finish for a while. So I'm with you. Like there was that moment of like, oh my God, is it going to end here? And then I thought in that second, wait a minute, he's already got the haluva kick. He can't lose to one spear, especially on this stage in this city. It can't end right now. So I was giving it more of like a 70-30 chance where he would kick out. And so he did, but the story's not over, because at this point a second referee gets taken out, and that's when Jey Uso comes out, and Paul Heyman, well, he dug a chair out from under the ring and handed it to Reigns. Jey comes out, and then Reigns told Jey he had to choose between his cousin or his friend, and then handed the chair to Jey the same exact way that he handed it to Sammy at SummerSlam. And Jey, who stood in between of Roman and Sammy, so Roman couldn't strike Sammy, you're thinking, oh, and I'm sure you guys were in the arena too, here we go. Is Roman that stupid enough? Is he that stupid where he's going to get hit the same way Sammy hit him? And unfortunately, that's not what happened. Reigns moved out of the way as Sammy was about to attack him, and Sammy accidentally speared Jey. So kind of take me through that.
Yeah, so once again, when Jey rolls out from underneath the ring and comes in, everyone, like, he got a huge positive reaction from the crowd, and I look at my friend, I'm like, he's not supposed to be here. Like, what's he doing here? And we're just so shocked in that moment. And then, like you mentioned, Roman hands Jay the chair. And in that moment, what I'm thinking in my head is I'm like, no, they're not gonna do the turn here, but they're gonna do the turn at some point because they wouldn't tease it like this in a match of this magnitude in a on a pay-per-view. They would not tease it if it wasn't foreshadowing further down the line. So right in my head, I thought I'm like, okay, like we could probably see this storyline ending with Jey Uso and Roman Reigns because like this, like Jay getting such a positive reaction like this, and I thought he was gonna turn on Sammy, but then when I see him turning on, like they're teasing that Jay turning on Roman with the chair, you're like, oh my God, like this is gonna happen at some point, but you knew that Jay was not gonna hit anybody except for Sammy, but yeah, and then Sammy gets up, Roman puts his hands in Jay's face, the crowd didn't like that, and then Sammy spears Jay, and you're just like like all of a sudden the entire room just kind of gets deflated because they kind of know what's coming next. Um, and then Roman, starts beating Sammy with the chair and just kind of took the sting out of the place right away. But yeah, that spot with Jay, that's very, very telling because if you look at I saw the pictures that were surfacing online of Jay, Roman and Sammy, and it's almost identical to the Royal Rumble, like with KO against the ropes, Sammy, and then Roman between Sammy and KO. So very telling, and that spear that Sammy hits on Jay. I'm sure that's going to lead to the predicted match for Mania for the tag team belts because now there's reason for Jay to not be happy with Sammy.
Yeah, there is. I mean that would you would think that an accidental spear like that would lead to Jay realizing, hey, wait a minute, my blood's thicker than water here. I'm sticking with my blood, even though if I don't agree with what Roman's doing. So I think you're right, probably. We could get into a very long discussion about what could happen moving forward. It's crazy still how much could happen. But with the finish of this match, once Sammy was counted down, he hits Roman hits him with multiple chair shots, spear, 1, 2, 3. At that point, when that happened, when that 3 count happened, are people looking around in shock? Are they angry? Are they just like, what the F? Like, what was the reaction when you finally realized that, yeah, Sammy had lost?
Yeah, it was kind of a mix of everything you just mentioned, really. Everyone just looking around at each other like, what the F? My friend turns to me and goes, yeah, that was their opportunity. They had the opportunity to give Sammy the belt and they didn't do it. Now my friend starts getting down. He's like, oh, like Sammy's never gonna win a belt. And right before that, the crowd just kind of like deflates. I'm sure you can hear it like on the actual video feed from Peacock. I'm sure you can hear it like the crowd just kind of goes silent. And that's what it was. Everyone was just kind of deflated. And I'm just sitting there watching the ref do the slow 3 count, and you're like, oh yeah, I know what's happening. But yeah, super, super kind of deflating moment because it had been such a great match up to that point, and you knew the match was gonna finish like that, but it was in the arena, it was a sense of like, oh, like it's really gonna end like this. Like Sammy's run, this whole storyline is really gonna end like this, It was just such a bad way to finish the match, and I think that people were just expecting more. And that was the reaction that I did see also online. It was just like, like why can't Sammy win? Sammy should have won. But at the same time, that's what WWE is trying to do to get that heat on Roman, and that was my whole logic going into the event. I'm like, this is a great opportunity to get a massive heat on Roman and still keep Sammy as a babyface. And that's what I think they did in the match is Sammy still remained hot. He came out of the match still looking good. And Roman came out of the match mega heel, more than he did going in. So, yeah, just kind of to wrap it all up, yeah, the crowd was definitely deflated after the 3 count.
My God, there's so much to dive into. But I will, just in the interest of continuing this, is talking about after the match. Owens comes out, and because they commence the beatdown, and Owens' music hits. And at this point, I'm thinking, and I'm sure people in the arena are like, where the hell were you 30 seconds ago? Why are we waiting until after the match is over, after Zayn had been essentially screwed out of the championship, and then Owens comes out? I mean, you guys still cheered, and you guys were still excited to see him. I didn't really hear any boos, but I think the level of reaction for Owens was mitigated because of the fact of his timing. Like, why, if you're his friend and you want to screw over the bloodline, why did you wait until after the match was over? Were you just sitting backstage and catering? I mean, I don't understand. I mean, Sami Zayn, and as a character, I'd be pissed at Kevin Owens for yeah, thanks for not, letting them kill me after the match, but the damage is done. The result is in. It's too late. Were you guys kind of pissed or perplexed? How did you feel about Kevin Owens coming out?
Are you ready to unlock the secret to radiant and youthful skin? Look no further. PSH Nutrition is here with an exclusive offer that will leave you glowing from the inside out. Introducing their buy one get one free promotion. When you purchase their premium vitamin C serum, you'll receive a free bottle of their delicious collagen gummies. That's right, it's a double treat for your skin and your taste buds. PSH Nutrition's vitamin C serum is specifically formulated to brighten your complexion, reduce wrinkles, and promote a healthy, youthful glow. It's like a burst of sunshine for your skin. And with their collagen gummies, you'll nourish your skin from the inside. Collagen is the secret ingredient for firm, supple skin, and now you can enjoy it in a tasty, convenient gummy form. But wait, there is more. They take pride in their commitment to quality and your satisfaction. PSH Nutrition products are made with the highest standards and are backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee. So don't miss out on this incredible offer. Your skin deserves the best, and PSH Nutrition is here to deliver. It's time to embrace your natural beauty, and they're here to help you shine. Visit their website at pshnutrition.com or call their hotline now to order your vitamin C serum and get those collagen gummies for free. Hurry, this offer will not last. PSH Nutrition, where beauty meets health. Again, pshnutrition.com.
Right up until the match, when the match ended and the beatdown commenced, all of us, especially in my section, started chanting for KO. And then it started to make its way around the arena. And it was just kind of we're standing there for a bit and we're like, is he really not going to come out? This is the perfect way to send the fans home happy after you just gave Roman the win, So we're just all kind of standing there, and then, the music hits, he still gets a really decent pop and everyone's happy to see him, and what's going to happen right away. Kevin Owens is going to clear the ring, hit everyone with a stunner, and then the real interesting thing was when Roman started to get up in the corner and KO is just staring him down, and Sami gets up in the other corner, and you just get that sort of standoff, and KO kind of turns around, checks his shoulder, and sees Sami, and they look eye to eye, and KO moves out of the way so that Sami can hit the haluva kick. Right then and there, the crowd obviously popped for that, but right then and there you can kind of tell that everything is starting to play out like it will in your head, of okay, but this is going to lead to this, and now they're going to team up. And like you mentioned, he did come out really late, and if I was Sami Zayn, I would also be mad, because it's dude, where was the help a few minutes ago when Jimmy and Jay came out, So, yeah, other than that, I mean, KO got a really positive reaction, and yeah, rightfully so, because obviously he's from here, so it was a great way to send the fans home happy. But obviously the fans wanted Sami to win. There's no lie there.
Yeah, do you think that, given what happened with Kevin Owens, and Sami hit his finish on Roman after the match, and they clearly did that to try to, as you said, send the crowd home happy, but do you think that, given there was so much hope
of this storyline concluding with Sami coming out on top, winning the belts, that even this beatdown of Roman and the Usos, or Jimmy anyway, was not enough. Like, it was just a distraction. It was a consolation prize. It wasn't really what people wanted to see, obviously. So do you think that was enough for the crowd to not riot? It seemed like you guys were generally happy to see that. You popped for the stunners, and I would too. I get it. But after that was over, were you kind of like, that was just a distraction? Like, this is, they did that to clearly not, instill riots and people booing and chanting bull, like, the whole BS chants. Do you think that was largely successful by WWE, or were people not fooled by that finish?
From where I was, I think people still cheered for Sami, and people were still, happy to see the beatdown after. And after the pay-per-view went off air, he just kind of stood there, and everyone was chanting for him, and he was gonna go to the back, and then I think it was Michael Cole and Corey Graves that kind of they came back from, I think it was one of the referees told them to come back, and Sami was next to them, and you can see someone tell Sami, oh, you have to go back in the ring, like, go back in the ring and maybe soak it all in, right? And then he goes into the ring and just gets cheered, and he starts thanking the fans. So judging from that, I still think people went home happy, but I'm pretty sure the reason is because, look, I think everyone with a brain knows that Roman Reigns is going to go to WrestleMania as champion. It doesn't make any sense for him to lose it in Montreal at the Bell Center. It was a good opportunity to give Sami the belts, but it wasn't a good opportunity for Roman Reigns to lose the belts. You're 100 days away from 1,000 days as champion, so it didn't really make any sense, and I think the crowd knew that. So I think they were just happy to see the two Montreal boys just kind of beat down on the bloodline after. So the way I looked at it is it was a consolation, but the crowd seemed to still embrace Sami afterwards. And from what I heard walking out, wasn't a lot of boos, and it wasn't a lot of like F you Roman chants or kind of revolting against the decision.
Right. No, I did think, though, that if they didn't give you guys a happy ending, so to speak, with the beatdown of Roman, that there may have been a little bit more, I guess, anger on the part of fans, and especially given I saw many, many signs in the crowd that said, if Roman wins, we riot. I mean, I've seen that before, and sometimes, while it's not a full-scale riot, people throw stuff in the ring, there's insanely vulgar chants, people just start, it's a complete rejection of what they're giving us, and they didn't do that. You guys didn't do that. And that's obviously a good thing. I don't think that's a great way to react to something, but yeah, I'm with you that what they did at the end was probably the right choice if you're not going to give Sami the belts. But at the same time, he's 1,000 days or 100 days away from 1,000. I can't see another guy on the roster. I don't care if your name is Cody Rhodes or whoever. There's not a single guy on the roster right now that's hotter and the fans have a stronger emotional connection for than Sami Zayn. And I understand 1,000 days would have been 100 days short. I understand you would have dropped the belts from Roman 6 weeks out of WrestleMania, but I think there's an argument to be made that you have a guy that hot that does not happen often, and you have a storyline this hot for this long for 8 months that is extremely rare to continue every week producing really good content on, and people are super into. That you don't conclude it with having Sami win here in his hometown. It would have been a complete story or fairy tale ending. So all right, well, I'll give you one last chance here. Final thoughts on this match because we gotta get to the other ones as well. But go ahead on the final thoughts on Roman and Sami.
Yeah, I thought it was a great match. I thought it's an early contender. I wanted it, like, I had big expectations going in, and I thought it was going to be a match of the year candidate, just based on, the move set from Sami Zayn and the way that Roman Reigns' matches have been in the last few months with Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. He had really excellent matches with them. So I thought it was going to be close to a 5-star match, and I think it almost did deliver. But I don't think I could give it that just because of the finish. So it was pretty close to a great match. I got pretty close to what I expected. But yeah, man, like Roman Reigns goes on to face Cody Rhodes now. I don't know. I don't know necessarily if my mind's made up on the outcome of that match because of what they're doing with Cody and how much they're pushing him. I know you're not a Cody fan. I honestly don't mind him. That's my opinion. I don't have an issue with him. I do like his in-ring work, and his promos aren't the worst. I've definitely seen worse. Cough cough Bray Wyatt. But yeah, man, I do think that Roman Reigns is going to win and just retain and go on. And like I mentioned previously, Roman versus Jay at SummerSlam has to happen.
That I think would be a good, yes, absolutely. And there may be other guys that come along. I'm with you about the WrestleMania call, though. I mean, like, okay, if it's one-on-one and Sammy doesn't get into a triple threat scenario with Cody and Roman, I think that's looking less likely, but still possible. Again, follow-up here is going to be key. But if it is one-on-one, I would agree Roman probably retains at Mania. I would think that it would be foolhardy for WWE to think that there's going to be anyone since Sami Zayn at this point that is going to be a better candidate to take the belt off of Roman than Sami. I mean, Cody is a big star. People seem to like him. Great. I understand why they do. But if they are going to get to Mania and they're going to be just a mere month and a half away of having him get to the 1,000 days, they're not going to drop the belt to Cody Rhodes. I mean, they're just not going to do it. But at this point, I don't know who else on the roster could do it. Cody's a candidate, Seth is a candidate, and I think Sami Zayn is a candidate, but I don't think you're going to ever create the magic that you created last night in the scenario that leads up to everything just reaching complete boiling point and getting to that perfect place to do it. I'm not confident they're ever going to be able to duplicate that. I have no idea what the payoff is. I don't really believe that there is a payoff that they could provide me that is going to be enough for me to say, oh, well, that was totally worth, the Sami Zayn loss and them having no world champion on Raw for over a year. And there's nothing they could do at this point. I don't care if The Rock comes back. I don't even care if Stone Cold challenges Roman Reigns. There's really nothing on my mind that they could do to really mitigate all of this damage that they've done. And again, when I say damage, I mean kind of collateral. The storyline with Roman has been awesome. It's one of the best storylines they've ever produced ever that I've been a witness to. But it's just there's a lot of byproduct damage going on that they keep continuing to create, and I think it's going to snowball. And at some point, they have to realize that that's going to be not worth continuing the streak. But all right, we could go on forever. We can make an entire 2-hour show about this. We got to move on. I want to ask you about the match that opened the show, the Women's Elimination Chamber match. Asuka, Carmella, Raquel, Nikki, Natalya, and Liv Morgan. What did you guys think about this match? Obviously, Natalya brought out the sharpshooter. That got a reaction out of the crowd. It ultimately did lead to the predictable, but I think correct outcome of Asuka getting the victory here. What did you guys think about this match in person?
Oh, well, yeah. So as soon as my buddy and I sat down and we saw that the chamber was coming down, and Samantha Irvin or Mike Roma, I can't remember who it was, started announcing the rules of the chamber, we look at each other and we're like, there's no woman that makes more sense than Asuka. My friend said he thought Raquel Rodriguez was going to win, and that was also valid, but I do think the way they're building Asuka on TV ever since the Rumble, you can tell they're pushing for Asuka to win, and I don't think it was in doubt ever in my mind. Liv Morgan had some cool spots. The power bomb, was it the power bomb or the sunset flip? Yeah, the sunset flip from the top of the top of the pod was awesome. Raquel spearing someone through the pod. I can't remember who it was, if it was Nikki Cross or not, but that was awesome. Yeah, like you mentioned, the crowd really got behind Natalya. The crowd really got behind Natalya, Liv, and even Asuka. When Asuka came out, got a loud reaction. So, everyone was behind Asuka. I know I was rooting for her. Raquel got a surprisingly negative reaction, which I was not expecting that. But I know some people aren't huge fans of her and don't see what a lot of other people see. I mean, I think it's too early for her, but I do think she'll be a star in 2023 for sure. But yeah, like a great match with great spots. And all the women, they showed out. Like they put on and they were given time to show what they're made of, what they can do. Like Liv Morgan definitely showed that, she's coming into her own. She had the really bad SmackDown Women's title run and the feud with Ronda Rousey, but she's kind of coming into her own. I didn't like how they booked that her exit from the chamber. And then you get down to Asuka and Carmella and you're like, what the hell is Carmella still doing here? So yeah, and then you kind of knew what was happening after that. Asuka puts her in the Asuka lock and it's done. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that match at WrestleMania. They're gonna need to do a lot of storytelling because right now the bigger match is Rhea versus Charlotte for sure. So they're gonna need to do some building with that matchup of Bianca and Asuka.
Yeah, I mean, boy, so much to unpack here. Let me just kind of briefly mention about you did a nice job of just summarizing the high points of this matchup because I overall enjoyed this match. I think that it over delivered a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't say that it was an average chamber match. This is a very difficult match to work. It's brutal. It's unpredictable. I love how, by the way, and I tweeted this out. I said the rules that they put on the screen are that superstars will be released on at regularly scheduled intervals. It's like, what the hell does that mean? Like, how do you not have like a specific amount of time? Is it 60 seconds, 90 seconds, 2 minutes? What is it? They don't tell you. They just said regularly scheduled intervals, which is hilarious and really just translates to when we want the match to progress and that everyone's in their positions, we'll release the next person to continue that next chapter of the story. That's really what that means, which is fine. It's just hilarious language to use. That said, though, I did hear the negative reaction to Raquel. It did surprise me a bit because overall she's got a generally positive reaction outside of Montreal. And I was a bit surprised to hear that. I think that you have Natalya in the match who's got ties to Canada, not to Montreal itself per se, but she is obviously the related to Bret Hart and all that, and she's the sharpshooter that endeared her to the crowd. But Raquel at this point is, I think she's on a push, but they need to be careful about how quickly they push her. I think right now her position should be bridesmaid, but not the bride, where she's kind of runner-up. She puts a good effort in. She takes champions to the limit, but she's not quite there yet, and I think that's her story. And they've done a nice job with that. So I was surprised by the booing. But that said, Carmella running around and trying to lock herself back in the pod was pretty funny. Trying to avoid contact, trying to avoid the other competitors was right up her alley, fit her character perfectly. And ultimately having it come down to Carmella and Asuka was fun because at that point you're like, yeah, no chance in hell Carmella's going to win here. It's Asuka. Asuka does end up winning as she should have. The one thing though too, I don't know if you noticed, I think this was after the match, Ronda Rousey had a video package that, kind of reminded you who and what she is, and that was interesting to me. It seemed like they were trying to reframe her as a babyface whenever they decide to bring her back. So I know that we kind of went through the match here already, but what did you guys? What was the reaction in the arena to seeing the Ronda Rousey? Oh, you guys didn't have the screen. That's right. Did you? Did you see the video package for Ronda?
Oh, they put it on the Titantron.
Okay.
They had all the commercials and video packages that you guys saw, they put it on the Titantron.
Okay.
So yeah, as soon as Ronda Rousey comes up, you hear the boos right away.
Good.
It was like, and especially me, I look at my friend, I'm like, they better not be doing this Ronda push again to where she gets a big match at WrestleMania. Like, I'm gonna lose it if she gets pushed again. So. Yeah, we were both of the thought that okay, this is just to kind of remind you who she is, and they do that a lot. I remember they did that with Kevin Owens, they've done that with Charlotte. So yeah, just a negative reaction overall to Ronda.
Good. I'm proud of you guys. Thank you. All right, so let's get to the next match here. Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley. This match, as all Brock Lesnar matches do, get off to a fast start. Before you know it, you're hitting finishes and going for, signature moves, and that's what happened here. Lesnar was, got speared, and he tried to put Lesnar in the hurt lock. He countered with a submission and got Lashley
onto his shoulders for the first F5. Lashley would hit a second, or I'm sorry, Lesnar hit a second F5. He went for a third, but Lashley escaped. What did you guys think about the beginning of this match? You kind of knew what you were going to get into, right? Like you knew that you're going to get probably an F5 early in the match, a spear early in the match. I was surprised by the second F5 kick out. I mean, the only person I know to do that in recent history is maybe Roman Reigns several years ago at Mania, but also I think Undertaker at WrestleMania 30 when it took 3 F5s to end the streak of Undertaker. But were you guys into this match? Like, what was the vibe for Lesnar Lashley?
Oh, the crowd was definitely into it because when Brock came out, he got a large pop, very large pop. Bobby too, obviously, pretty over with the crowd. But Brock was just the bigger baby face by default, just kind of got cheered. Every time he hit an F5, there was chance for one more time from the crowd. So yeah, Brock was just, the crowd was into it, but then when the finish was what the finish was with the disqualification, there was just boos and a couple of BS chants from the crowd. So yeah, the finish was not well received, but a lot of people were, including myself, were into it for Brock. And like you mentioned, you knew the match you were going to get. Like, you knew you were going to get a bunch of finishes. And I hate to say it, but I was expecting more from this match. And I agree with you. I have no vested interest in this program. I want it to end. I don't think they've done a good job. And I know for a long time people have been clamoring for this match, but I could do without it at the fourth one at WrestleMania.
I hope they don't. I mean, but if you didn't know better, you'd think that this is setting up for a fourth, given that Lesnar had to use a low blow to get out of that hold. I don't think that was a heel turn. I think that's just desperation on a Brock Lesnar's part. And then, of course, you guys lost it with the attacking of the referees, which is always fun. Anytime Brock beats up somebody super, like, much smaller than him, it's really just hilarious to watch. I don't know what's wrong with me, but seeing him beat up referees is just so much fun. And, going through the table and all that. And so Brock, even though he lost per a DQ, which is kind of a bizarre finish, it's still, to me, it was satisfying enough, given that this program had zero story behind it, and I had almost no vested interest at all because of this just poor storytelling. Really, no storytelling at all. That's the problem. But if I didn't know any better, you'd say, oh, my God, they're doing a fourth at Mania, given the finish. But you also saw SmackDown, and you're like, well, wait a minute, Bray Wyatt, who had called out Lashley and Lesnar and said for them to run, you're thinking, okay, it's probably going to be Lesnar and Wyatt at WrestleMania, probably. But I don't know. Did you think that Bray Wyatt was going to come out, given the threatening comments on SmackDown?
Yeah, I did. I definitely I thought he was going to come out at the end, and I look at my friend, I'm like, oh, like Brock is leaving the ring. Where's Wyatt? It was definitely, like you mentioned, it was definitely funny watching Brock F5 the referee through the table. And it was just over and over again. It was just one more time chance from the crowd. Like, literally, that was it after the match. It was just one more time, one more time, one more time. Like, yeah, it was, Brock definitely delivered. That's for sure, even though he had to use the DQ finish. And I don't know who faces Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. Like, I don't know, because you're going to need that rubber match eventually between Brock and Bobby. Although, like I mentioned, I could definitely do without it. It's tough. I mean, Brock and Bray Wyatt, like, what's Brock gonna do with the Firefly Funhouse? That kind of, I don't see where that fits in. And then you're looking at Bray versus Bobby, and that's kind of random too. Like where does that kind of fit in? So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do with Bray Wyatt and with Brock and Bobby, because Brock and Bobby at Mania, don't want to see that. Bray and Brock, I guess, works, and then Bobby Bray is just, I don't know.
It's bizarre. I don't know where they're going with it. I mean, Bray threatens, and then, nothing happens. Maybe they called an audible and decided not to do whatever they were going to do. I don't know. I've heard rumors of Austin versus Lesnar. That's been rumored forever. But at SmackDown, we had Wyatt threaten the person who was going to win that match, and technically Bobby won it. So you would think it's Bray Wyatt versus
Bobby Lashley, and that leaves Lesnar open. I don't know. We'll see what happens on SmackDown or Raw. I mean, because there's no brand split really. So we'll find out, obviously, what's going to happen. It could be a triple threat for I don't know what. But Bray Wyatt seems to be targeting the winner of this, and that would be Bobby Lashley. So, all right, let's go down to the next match here. Only a couple left. Edge and Beth Phoenix versus Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley. I'll let you have this one first. What did you think?
Oh, well, it was really cool to see both entrances live in person. I had never seen both of them, and I'm a huge fan of both entrance music that these two teams had, because the Edge one is just a classic, and then the Judgment Day theme is pretty good too. But yeah, they walk out, and I don't know if you heard during the match, but there was a lot of "F you Dominic" chants as well.
Oh God. Yeah.
So those were good. And him playing along with it, closing his ears, like putting his hands on his ears, that was awesome. We all popped for that. Obviously we popped for Edge and singing lyric for lyric his entrance music. And I don't know if you could hear it on the TV, but everyone was singing it. And yeah, the match was really good. Like Beth, for not competing for like a year, Beth Phoenix, like really good in the ring. I was really surprised. Obviously, like you mentioned in the preview, there was going to be focus on Rhea Ripley, of course, and I think they did a good job of keeping her strong in this match, and still allowing Beth to look really strong, and they kept Edge and Balor out of this match for a good portion of it, and the finish ended with the Shattered Dream. Shout out to FTR, the Revival. And yeah, Edge gets the pin on over Finn, and right away we're all thinking, yeah, this is gonna lead to what we've heard has been rumored is Edge versus Balor at WrestleMania. So that'll be pretty cool. But yeah, this was a really fun tag match. I don't know how you looked at it, but this was really fun.
I was very surprised, delighted about this matchup. And it was going to be the focus on Rhea. Many of us, I included, thought that Rhea Ripley was going to get the victory because of how much she's been protected and that she's main event bound for WrestleMania. And, you're thinking, oh, well, they're going to keep her hot. And I mean, they did. They kept her hot even without getting a victory because she wasn't involved in the loss. And that was a smart thing to do. And Edge getting a victory over Finn, you would imagine, okay, that's got to be it. But now there's rumors still of Finn versus Edge at Hell in a Cell at Mania. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they could still put on a really good match, but this feels like it's been going on for over a year. And I'm just ready. You're ready. The fans are ready for them to just move the hell on from Edge and the Judgment Day. But we'll see if they do. I agree. Beth Phoenix looked really good for not competing in front of that kind of a crowd, or any crowd for that matter, for many months. It's pretty impressive. And, Beth Phoenix is, I think if she was actually a regular competitor today, that she would fit right in perfectly. And I enjoyed this match. As you said, the Shatter Machine at the end was really an unpredictable finish, a good finish. It made total sense. Edge getting the victory over Finn was totally cool with me. The crowd was happy to hear that or see that. And, the Dominic Mysterio factor, it's so fun. I really, outside of Roman Reigns, I mean, I would say Dominic Mysterio was the heat drawer number 2. I mean, you guys were all over Dominic. Everything he did, it was just, the dude is a heat magnet, and I love it so much. Even when he got kicked out and then he came back, you guys booed the hell out of it, and the FU Mysterio, or FU Dominic, I was loving it. The only thing I thought about this match that would happen is Rey Mysterio coming back and finally snapping on his son. Didn't happen. I think we're a matter of weeks away now, 1 or 2 weeks, to set up that match for Mania. But final thoughts on this match?
Yeah, like you said with Rey Mysterio, I looked next to my friend and I'm like, oh, Rey's gonna be coming out for sure. Like Dominic's here, and he's causing the havoc that he usually causes, and to see no Rey was kind of weird, but I'm assuming they're just waiting for the Chamber pay-per-view to finish, and now you have the long build to Mania. You have 6 weeks now, so more than enough time. I think we'll see an interaction on SmackDown next week because Rey Mysterio is going up against Karrion Kross again. So I think we'll see something there, or maybe something on Raw. But also talking about Raw, I don't know if you saw the press conference, but Edge accepted Theory's open challenge for the U.S. title. So we're gonna get that on Raw. So this is like a perfect setup for Finn to cost Edge the match. So we know we're getting that match definitely at WrestleMania. Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. But yeah, a very good match overall. I predicted the Judgment Day of Rhea and Finn to win, but yeah, I wasn't really mad with the outcome of the match.
No, I agree. And if this is the finale, if it is, as you said, I didn't know about that with Edge getting it, accepting the open challenge. Clearly, Edge isn't going to win. It is a setup for something else for Edge, and Finn Balor could be the very one to do it, and fine. Like, if they want to have another match, it's going to be great in ring. There's no problem there. It's just we're tired of this combination. It's just overrun, overstayed its welcome. We're just kind of ready to move on, even if they mesh well together. So yeah, I'd agree. But yeah, I was very pleased with this match. I was they think they over delivered, even if the ending had a bit of a botch with Beth Phoenix not breaking up the pin in time, and Edge had to kind of kick out with the brass knucks. That whole spot. So, yeah. But, all right, let's move on here to the final match, as we already talked about the main event here. That was the men's Elimination Chamber match for the U.S. title. Theory, Ford, Bronson Reed, Gargano, Priest, and Rollins. Very quickly here, I was very surprised about the showing for Bronson Reed, because he was the guy that you look at and go, most people don't know much about him. He's a big dude, but kind of the guy that's the ugly duckling of the match, where he's going to get eliminated early. Well, he, I think, had one of the best matches so far since he's been on the main roster, because he showed dominance. People, I think, started to get into what he was doing as the match went on. He showed that he's tough, he can move, he's got a presence. So this, to me, was, even obviously there was no chance of him winning. In a loss, this was really a really good night for Bronson Reed. Of course, the spot with the Hurricane Rana that Seth did, or Gargano did on Seth, and then Seth, went and piled onto the men below, was crazy. Logan Paul, I don't know how I'd missed that and didn't see that coming. I feel foolish for not thinking that, but I feel like an idiot. I'm like, how did I forget about that? Mm-hmm. But I thought the injury to Montez Ford was legit. I mean, you guys were clapping for him, and I'm like, oh man, what happened? And it looked legitimate. So hats off to the acting on both ends. But ultimately, it did have Austin Theory get the victory. Well, I'll let you take it from here. What'd you think?
Yeah, like you mentioned with Bronson Reed, like, very impressed with him. He comes out on Raw and he does these matches where, he's not going to lose. Like, he's going against the resident jobbers of Monday Night Raw, like Mustafa Ali and Dolph Ziggler, right? So, like, coming into this, okay, the guy's maybe got something about him, but very great showing, and he got a positive reaction from the crowd. I forget which spot it was, but yeah, very, very impressive performance. I thought all the men in the match kind of came out better than they went in. Like, all of them all had a decent performance, and Triple H mentioned it in the press conference as well, that every single man in the chamber kind of they had their way with it, and they showed what they're capable of. So I think Seth looked really good. Gargano looked really good. Priest too. Mm-hmm. But the star of the match was Montez Ford for sure. Like, the crowd was all over Montez Ford, and the spot on the cage where he kind of crawls up on the cage like Spider-Man, and that takes a lot of trust in the guys you're working with to catch you from that fall. Like, that's a really incredible spot, and it got a couple spots in this match, including that one, got a holy S chant from the crowd. So yeah, it was, and the match got a "This is awesome" chant. I think, in my opinion, this was match of the night. Definitely from crowd reaction, and they gave this match a lot of time, rightly so. And like you said, I did not see Logan Paul coming, and I'm like, man, I'm so dumb. Like, mm-hmm. like how did we not see this coming? They had Seth going on the McAfee show and going to all these media outlets and saying, oh, he's a leech, he's trying to steal from my business, and you're thinking, oh, like, Seth is right here. Maybe this is not a work, But yeah, Logan Paul coming in, the crowd booed instantly. He hit the stomp, booed instantly, but I think it was first some shock, and then the boos started to ring in. So yeah, I don't know how I missed that, but Theory retaining, I guess it's the right choice. I mean, like he's pretty hot right now, so why take the belt off him and that match with Cena at WrestleMania that's been heavily rumored. I think keeping the belt on him is a good idea. I don't hate it. But yeah, really really good match of the night for me.
From a wrestling perspective, if you're looking for just pure great wrestling, absolutely, this was the match of the night. I was intrigued from this from start to finish. Logan Paul is a natural heel. I really don't know how they didn't see he was going to get booed out of the building the moment that he was introduced to WWE. And they tried to push him as a babyface, and people were like, no, this dude is arrogant. He oozes arrogance. And, they couldn't see it. Eventually, they just stopped swimming upstream and turned him heel, and that's the right move here. But him and Seth, I think, are going to put on a really good match at WrestleMania, even though I feel for Seth. I think Seth should be in a championship match of some sort, at least. I mean, particularly world championship, but now he's working with Logan Paul. Again, from a wrestling perspective, that's going to be fine. I think the promos will be fun and all that. But yeah, I feel foolish for missing the whole part about Logan Paul, and having him cost Seth the match, though, made total sense if you're going to build a match for them for Mania, and it seems like that's what they're doing. So having Austin Theory get the victory, no problem there. I really have no issue. I said at the beginning of this match in my preview show and said, hey, stay away from this match if you have money, because this is one that you could make a case for three guys at least in the match to come away with the victory. And Montez Ford, I am really looking forward to him breaking away and being on a singles competitor, because he's a future world champion. I mean, I don't have any doubt that Montez Ford is a future world champion, universal, undisputed, whatever it is at that point. I don't know if it's this year, but I think he is absolutely in the conversation in at least the next couple years to be world champion. So he's got the charisma, he's got the athleticism, he's got the look. I'm really looking forward to it. And I thought there was a small chance they could do it, but again, you're so close to Mania. That's where usually babyfaces overcome the heels and become champion, typically, is at Mania. And to do it a month before Mania, you're thinking about logically how things are typically booked. It made sense for Austin Theory to get the victory. And fine, if it's Cena getting the belt or challenging him for the belt, well, whatever. It's fine. Austin Theory is a really good talent. I have no problem with him retaining the belt. So, very good match. I'm with you from a wrestling perspective that this was a very, very good match. And that spot with Ford, of course, was just crazy as well. So, any final thoughts on this match before we wrap up?
Yeah, I Austin Theory week by week continues to impress me, with not only his promo work, I think he's got one of the better promos in the entire business for sure right now. He's definitely growing. In the ring too, he was great here. My friend and I, we noticed this during the match. His selling is on another level. The way he sells the stomp, the way he sold the tornado DDT from Gargano, just fantastic. Yeah, and Montez Ford, like you mentioned, future world champ, no doubt in my mind. He's gonna have a singles run. Probably won't be this year, but I cannot wait for that, because he's got everything that you need to succeed and have a good run, heel or face. I think, in my opinion, they could do whatever they want with him. But yeah, that pretty much. Other than that, oh yeah, we also Damian Priest, in my opinion, as well, continues to get better and better. Rhea, Finn, and Dom have kind of taken over, and he's kind of stepped back into. He's not really in the spotlight, but this match, in my opinion, kind of brought it, and he just continues to improve, in my opinion. And the Judgment Day in general are they're doing phenomenal work. So yeah, this match pretty much got you to where you needed to be heading into WrestleMania.
And that botch spot that I know in person you probably couldn't see it live, or at least as up close that people did at home. The botch spot with Bronson Reed getting dropped on his neck.
Oh yeah.
My God, I was waiting. I mean, the referee went over to him, and I was looking at him like, oh my God, even the announcers seemed genuinely concerned. Was there kind of a sense at that moment of that spot with Bronson Reed, oh crap, they're going to put up the X sign?
Yeah, there were a couple of times that I thought the refs were going to put up the X sign, and that was one of them. but there's just a lot of spots where you're like, oh my God, like these guys are really trying to like kill themselves. Like there was a lot of, and there was also I can't remember, it was off the top of the pod with Seth and Gargano. I can't remember what it was.
The Hurricane Rana.
Yeah, the Hurricane Rana. That was crazy. And then someone got caught into a Hurricane Rana from the top rope. It was just like bodies flying everywhere, man. Like so many spots in this match that you can't like I can barely remember almost all of them. There's just so many of them. But yeah, it was a great match, and all the men still look strong heading into WrestleMania.
Absolutely. This elevated everyone. No one was hurt by this match. Hats off to everyone in this match, and I'm sure that they rolled out of bed this morning groaning in just like bumps and bruises. So absolutely. But all right. Well, as we wrap this up, did you have anything else that you want to share about your experience at the event?
Yeah, it was kind of, I was not looking forward to having no Jumbotron. I feel like that was a big miss, but obviously, you can't with the chamber, or else how are you going to get the chamber up? And how are you going to, have the regular matches that you have scheduled? The merch, they had a lot of merch. Unfortunately, my friend and I, we only found out that there was a WWE Superstore that closed at 5:00 on Friday night. So we were not able to get there because I was across the country in Vancouver this week, so I was not able to be there in time for the Superstore. But the merch, a lot more merchandise than when they come for SmackDown, like 100%. Lots of, like I mentioned earlier, lots of Roman versus Sammy merch, some Elimination Chamber with the Quebec flag, Montreal Canadiens themed Kevin Owens merch. They had a lot of Cody merch too that they were trying to shift with the belt, and like the merch was quite substantial. And even towards the end, we went to try and see if they had any of our sizes in the Roman versus Sammy shirt, but like all sold out. So merch was flying off the shelves at the Bell Center, and then obviously the Superstore probably the same. So yeah, it was really cool. It was something I've never experienced, like WWE coming for a pay-per-view, and you could tell like there was more anticipation than when they come for a regular Raw or SmackDown. So the crowd was into it, and from what I've heard, it came across like that on TV. So it was perfect. It was like 200 Canadian well spent, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I mean, that is a once in a lifetime. Well, it's okay. It's not WrestleMania, but very few people get to go to WrestleMania. This was. I mean, given it's a hometown crowd for your hometown boy with an amazing storyline. I mean, that actually capped off the night. Yeah, he didn't win. That makes a lot of people angry, but they try to send you home happy. And they haven't had a pay-per-view in Montreal in I don't know how many years. So this was for you guys your WrestleMania for the year. And I know that they're talking about bringing WrestleMania to Canada, specifically even Montreal. I've heard. That was noted in the press conference that WWE had after the show. So Sammy mentioned that it hasn't. This is not a city that they've forgotten about when it comes to WrestleMania. I think Montreal would be, really fun city to have WrestleMania in for so many reasons. You guys are so passionate, and it's got a lot of wrestling history in Montreal, not just Bret Hart, but others as well. So. All right. Well, Tom, thank you so much for your in-person perspective. I really appreciate it. I'm jealous as hell that you were able to go and experience it and go through the emotions and the up and the down and everything else. Sounds like it was money well spent. So I really appreciate you coming on, and we will be chatting soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure, Matt. Very, very, very pleased to come on and talk wrestling whenever. So if you ever need a co-host, don't hesitate to message me on Patreon or whatever, or vice versa. So but yeah, it was like you mentioned with WrestleMania and Sammy in the press conference. I'm praying for WrestleMania 41 in Montreal. Mm-hmm. That would be fantastic. I know the Olympic Stadium is still good. It's got the retractable roof, but not very retractable these days. Doesn't really work as well as it used to. So yeah, definitely that would be awesome. And I feel like they could do a lot, and it would be I think they would sell it out in my opinion. So
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, but yeah, coming back to it, really appreciate you having me on. It was a great experience, and I'm happy I can provide that the insight with that experience to you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tom. This was a great conversation, and certainly we're all living vicariously through you for this event, and we'll definitely be chatting soon. So thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you, Matt. Always a pleasure.
Take care.
Are you ready to unlock the secret to radiant and youthful skin? Look no further. PSH Nutrition is here with an exclusive offer that will leave you glowing from the inside out. Introducing their buy one get one free promotion. When you purchase their premium vitamin C serum, you'll receive a free bottle of their delicious collagen gummies. That's right, it's a double treat for your skin and your taste buds. PSH Nutrition's vitamin C serum is specifically formulated to brighten your complexion, reduce wrinkles, and promote a healthy, youthful glow. It's like a burst of sunshine for your skin. And with their collagen gummies, you'll nourish your skin from the inside. Collagen is the secret ingredient for firm, supple skin, and now you can enjoy it in a tasty, convenient gummy form. But wait, there is more. They take pride in their commitment to quality and your satisfaction. PSH Nutrition products are made with the highest standards and are backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee. So don't miss out on this incredible offer. Your skin deserves the best, and PSH Nutrition is here to deliver. It's time to embrace your natural beauty, and they're here to help you shine. Visit their website at pshnutrition.com or call their hotline now to order your vitamin C serum and get those collagen gummies for free. Hurry, this offer will not last. PSH Nutrition, where beauty meets health. Again, pshnutrition.com.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.